Hey, book lovers, I'm Ashley,
And I'm Kendall, and welcome to Bound by Fantasy.
a channel all about books and bookish things.
Today we're going to talk about A Court of Mist and Fury. We're on to part three. If you didn't re-listen or watch part one or two, please pause the video, go back, watch them, like them, comment on them, and then come back here for part three.
Yes, you might be very confused if not.
So we find out they're mates. Woo! Yay!
Yay! That was
Um,
exciting.
I don't know about you, but I saw it coming. I saw it coming. Like, this big bad man is just too sweet to this little human. I was like, it's coming. They're mates. Like, her and Tamlin's mating bond didn't like happen yet. That's because she's already mated. Um,
I totally forgot that was a thing until it happened. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. No, that makes sense now. So I just had like this aha moment where like I just forgot it was a thing that
mhm.
happened. So yeah, I don't know. I just totally forgot about it. And then when yeah, she found out, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, that makes so much sense. Makes a lot of things click into place here.
Right.
Yeah, so no, I was super happy about that for sure though. Except obviously she didn't find out in a good way, right?
No, no,
So
she wasn't told nicely. She just was told. Um, but that, like we talked about a little bit, like it's nice that Moore takes her to the cabin
right.
and she's allowed to really process her feelings. And then so she gets the day, and then Moore comes back and she's painted up the cabin. Now, this might be a difference of opinion, but I was like, girl, this isn't your house. You can't just paint everything because I guess it's just like being a mom and being at the age I'm at. I'm like, if I came home and some person
Your
had
whole
just
house.
painted my entire house with not like paint on the walls, like details,
Right.
I would be
Detail
like,
painting.
what are we doing here? What is going on?
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, no, well, and like she was seeing like signs of that this is their place, like this is their home. And yeah, no, I was like, I don't know if you should be doing that. I mean, I know you're mad at him and all, but like, I don't know. There was sign she's like clearly like this is where they like would go and hang out and be together as a family and stuff. And so like she was yeah, I don't know. It's essentially destroying their like family like getaway place. So,
Right, right. Like,
yeah,
I know in a part of it, she's like accepting the bond,
right.
but still, like, could you have asked? Probably. I could have
Probably.
asked.
At least more. Like at least ask more. Right? More like comes in and I think it goes fine. Everybody is like cool with it, but yeah, I would not be. Somebody just painted my whole house. So,
Right.
yeah.
But at least I feel like you said, like, as she's painting, she's kind of really healing herself.
Yeah.
And then, like, more comes and visits. And sure enough, Reese is at the door. And there is like a hesitation when he gets there, right? Like, do I let him in? Do I, like, how she doesn't really know how to handle it at first. So she does let him in.
Hmm.
And, and then, like, just the best chapter in the whole world happens. I mean, it's not even like a spicy chapter. It's just like he bears everything to her.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know how it happened with you, but mind blown that like he knew about her for so long, right?
Right. Yeah. Well,
Like,
and then he was like having to deal with her being in love with someone else like
mhm,
that. I kind of mentioned in our last video that like I get why he didn't tell her at least for a while, right? For a long while because that I think he was trying to make sure she was fully healed from
mhm,
Tamlin. And I think she wasn't fully healed really until that happened because she was still so traumatized and so upset about it and feeling so guilty about Tamlin. And so like maybe that's why Reese was not telling her. Should he have told her? Absolutely. But I mean, if she's still feeling guilty and feeling like I can't fall in love with this guy, I'd be a little nervous to tell her to be like, all right, but you're my mate. So,
Right? Right?
yeah,
And as like he's telling the story, she is making food, right? And the big
yes.
thing is if she gives him the food, she's accepted the mating bond. So like he's bearing his soul to her, and all I can think about is like, you better feed this man. Like I was just mad at him, but I was like, you better feed him because I will not be okay. Like put the food down and feed. Because I was like, if she doesn't, I'm going to lose my mind.
So, yeah, so I mean, obviously, like I wanted her to accept it, and like she basically had accepted it before he even got there. She had decided she had accepted it. I didn't love the food thing. Like, I was glad that she gave him the food, but I don't know, it just felt so like for today's like world, like it's not always the girl that's cooking and things like that. And so it just felt kind of backwards to me a
Mhm.
little. I think it was, I mean, it's an old ritual, right? So it made sense, but it was just like, I don't know, could there have been something better than just making food for him? Maybe. So
Right.
I didn't love that, honestly. I might be like, alone in that feeling, but um, I'm just like, it's not always like the female cooking for the male, type of relationships anymore.
Right.
So
So I agree with that aspect, but I was just like, at least just give him the food. Like
just
give
give him the
him
food. Yeah. You
like
got
a
to accept
cracker
it.
or something.
Yeah.
Like give
Give
him
him
something at
something.
least so the bond is there and
Yeah.
accepted. But
Right.
so as she's telling like he's talking about like all of this, and you find out that he's known about her since she was human. And that just
Right.
blows my mind. Like he knew about the dresser. Like she told him about the dresser, but he knew. And
Right.
as he was under like Amarantha's control, he saw her painting this dresser and he put the stars into her brain. So like she would paint the stars. I'm like, what? What is
Yeah. That
going
was
on?
well, and also like thinking about like he had to deal with Tamlin, but also like her being in love with Tamlin, but also him being a slave to Amarantha for
Mhm.
so long too. Like that he knew back then when he was still like under her control and everything.
Right,
And that he was having to like play that part, like how horrible that would have been for him because he knew he had a mate out there. Like he knew that she existed. So like how much worse was that he had to bear?
right.
So,
So
yeah.
now that we're here, I don't know if you ever picked up on back in the Court of Thorns and Roses, right? When we first meet Reese's character, he goes to Farah and he goes, "There you are. I've been looking for you." And it's
Yes.
because he was. It wasn't to save her. He was actually looking for her this whole time. And I was like, oh my gosh. Because
Yeah.
when I
Because he didn't know that
reread,
she was with, I don't think he knew, right, that she was with
no,
Tamlin at that point.
no,
No. He found out later.
yes.
Um, yeah, when they had the dinner. But yeah, no, I know. I was like, oh.
And I mean,
And like
obviously, he
he
didn't
did save
know
her,
they
but
were mated at the time, but he knew there was a connection.
right.
And he manipulated in a way where he got to go find her because the dreams got more intense right when she crossed the border. And he knew that, like, she was here. She's
Hmm.
here. I need to go find her. And he
Right.
does. And then he says that to her. And now, like, now that you've read, like, the whole story, and I'm like, that's what he meant. Like, he meant that he was looking for her and he found her.
Yeah. No, that's so awesome. I mean, he does like explain that. And like I did think that was weird that he said that in the first book. Like I was like, that seems like an odd line to tell somebody. Like, I mean, but maybe he was just trying to protect her. Like
Right.
that's what
From
I was
those,
initially
yep.
thinking. Or I was thinking like maybe Tamlin for some reason sent him after her for a minute, or I don't know. Like I just wasn't sure. It definitely stuck out to me in A Court of Thorns and Roses. But no, it was nice to like see where that came from because that was definitely like That's an interesting thing to say to somebody you've never met before.
Right.
So, yeah,
And I mean, like I said, they didn't know their mates yet. And they find out, or he finds out, because she doesn't understand at that point, that they're mates after Amarantha's killed. And they see each other on the balcony, and the mating bond locks in place, and Reese feels it and doesn't tell her. And I'm like, what? Like, so he had to know they were mates for so long and
yeah.
let her go with Tamlin. Oh,
But she was engaged to him. Like, what was he gonna do? I don't know. And he like hated her, or she hated him at that point. Like, maybe not hated, but she wasn't like a huge fan
right,
of him.
right.
She was not a huge fan, so I don't
No.
know. Yeah.
Oh, that like it just kills me a little bit for him. Like,
Yeah, no, I feel bad for
he
him for sure.
just let his mate go, going to marry this other man, and he just, I was like, oh, Daddy Reese, I'll save you.
Well, and
God
also
with
that
me.
like he loved her enough that he wanted to like let her be happy, whether
Yes,
that was with Tamlin or not. But then like seeing how terrible she was being treated, how awful she was being treated, how Tamlin was
mhm,
locking her up and stuff, like, and that she begged to have someone save her, when
right,
she was at her wedding, that all like made it make even more sense why he saved her
right.
um during the wedding as well. And then also like, yeah, I mean the fact that he loved her enough to be like, that's fine, go marry Tamlin. I just want you to be happy. Like, I don't know, that was really sweet too to hear that.
I know. And that he was willing to give her up, even though he
Yeah.
waited and dreamed about her for years, like basically like from when she was a kid. And
And he hated Tamlin
oh
because of their
yeah.
history too.
Yep.
So like
And
that
like
had to
they
be even
find out
worse.
like that whole history comes up and they're why they hate each other so much with the killing of the families and
Yeah.
it's just he let her go to the person he hates the most, basically.
Hmm.
Then we find all of this out and thankfully, she passes the soup over.
Yes.
So they accept the mating bonds and then they get to have some fun and
Yep.
destroy the house some more. So, I mean,
This poor
paint the
house.
house, destroy the house, it's fine.
It's all good. No worries.
I guess she's lucky she's made it to him because I guess she's the only one that could like just destroy the house. It's fine.
Yeah, right. I do think that like I don't know if her like painting skills like went up during this, but it kind of
Right?
seemed like it. Like she got better at painting because like she has to be pretty darn skilled to paint all of them.
Right? And
Um,
I'm also thinking like so I saw like a picture that made me laugh, and it was like Feyre had painted the house, and there was stick figures and like kid drawings, and I'm like, I guess
that's
that's
funny.
why I got so mad at first because like I don't know what her paintings look like, so it could look like that, and you're just like
Right.
drawing all over everyone's house.
Well, and also like the fact that she doesn't paint Reese with eyes, like
Yes,
in all of them, that would creep the heck out of me. Like I would be terrified walking into that house or just walking around with like
I
a
forgot
whole bunch
about
of
that.
paintings with no eyes on it. Like that would really freak me out. Yeah. I'm like, I hope she went back and filled it in. I don't know that she did, or I don't know that they talked about it at
That
least. I
I don't
really
think we've
hope she
ever
did.
talked about that again. That's a good question.
Yeah, it really bothered me because I'm like, that would scare the heck out of me.
Yeah, because she couldn't get him right, right? I think that's what she says.
Yeah, and I think she felt like because she was so mad at him, like it would just hurt her too much, like
Right.
to see his eyes for some reason. Yeah. I do appreciate that like she painted them at least. Like she painted like all of their friends and all of them together. Um I'm like at least she painted them and not like
Right.
just pretty flowers all over the place or whatever.
Right.
Not that she didn't play flowers, but she did paint them too. So I think that like he accepted the painting more because of that as
I
well.
agree.
Yeah.
And then we get he tells her that the queens have agreed to meet. And that's
Right.
when your heart drops because you realize you have
Yeah.
these many pages left. And
Yeah.
we know what happens when we only have a couple pages left. It's about to get real, and it does quickly. So
Yes.
they go back. They obviously, I forgot about this, but before they go all the way back, they go and get Cassian right at the camp. And Reese talks about how normally mates stay together for like months because that's just what
Oh, right.
happens when they're mated
Yeah.
and they have to like get going right away. And then, of course, Cassian has to just poke the bear. And
Because he wanted to get Reese's energy out. Yeah.
And it just like it's hysterical. I love that because he's like, poke,
I
poke.
love that part. That was
I'm gonna
awesome.
make you fight me because you need to get the rage out because you can't the other way around.
Right. No,
Oh my God, I love it.
that was awesome. I love that part. And just like nice of Cassian to do that too. So, yeah.
It kind of gave his best friend or his like his brother basically his out. So they go and they go meet the queens and they kind of get like a surprise because there's only two queens, right? Um,
Right.
I don't know about you, but my red flags were going off at that point. What were your feelings like about the meeting and how there was two queens?
Oh yeah, for sure. The fact that there were only a couple of them, I'm like, I also just like had zero faith they were going to give him what they wanted anyway, even if like they provided the proof because they really like didn't seem like it the first time. And honestly, like I had red flags going up the first time that they met. So yeah, I had no faith that that was going to go well. So I also just felt like Reese should not show them the orb and like show them Valaris. Like that just felt like such a mistake, especially because there were
Yes.
only two of them at that point.
Yes.
So yeah, that's just and I mean they do, right? They show the orb, they see Valaris, and they say that's not enough proof. And then like Nesta gets mad. And Nesta
Mhm.
like jumps in and is like, how is this not proof? Like, how is this not enough proof? But also just like look at like where we all are, that we're all in the same room together and like
Right.
look at what's happened between the two of them, the fact that they've mated. Yeah. And so like between all of that, it's like, none of it was enough. Um, and then it's interesting that like I was getting very frustrated, like Freyra was too. And Reese is just like, all right, whatever, you're not going to give us what you want. Like, he just like kind of like lets them leave. And she's like, what are you doing?
Right.
Um, so that, yeah. So I guess like, how did you feel as Reese was like doing that? As he was like, just like, all right, whatever. Like, I showed you Valaris. Like, see you later.
Right. Like I don't know. Like I feel like he like just gave up and I'm like, what is going on right now? You
Right,
can't just like give up. That's not allowed.
right,
And I like it's just oh, I don't know. I don't even know because like that scene, the whole part just threw me and I was irritated. And the fact that like Nesta brings up like, what are you going to do when the King of Hybern comes and like tries to kill us all and takes down the wall and all the Fae go out? Because we know not all Fae are good. There's definitely
right,
bad ones out there, and there's definitely ones that like if the door was open, they're coming to not be nice to humans.
right.
And the queens are like, we don't live on this continent. It's fine.
But we're just gonna let the world burn,
Right.
essentially. Yeah, yeah. No, that was not a great attitude. I did feel better once like I knew that Reese had like known that she left the book there, that the one queen had left it there. I'm like, okay, it makes more sense of like how he was acting, but it was still just like, I don't know. I feel like he shouldn't have shown them the orb in the first place though. Like that
Oh,
just felt like such a huge mistake.
100%. 100%.
Yeah,
Like you just showed the biggest best thing that you have.
right.
How they care.
Well, and then she also warns him, like, don't trust the other four of us.
Yes.
So that was like, I'm like, okay, where's that going from there? So that was
Right.
also interesting. I'm like, well, they're not there clearly, but like, what's going on with that?
Right. And that, I mean, that just the whole meeting just ends in such a way where like everyone's like, okay, we're going to war, like it's really gonna happen.
Right,
And they're gonna leave sentries to protect Nesta and the townspeople, and it's just crazy. Craziness.
right.
So we return to Valaris, um, and we luckily can give the book because obviously the queen trusts them enough that read the yellow golden hair. Did they ever say her name?
I don't know if they said her name. No, I think they just described her because she left the book,
Yes,
but like the other sister didn't know, and neither did the other four of them.
right. I don't know if
But
they
she
ever
said
said
like
her
they would find
name.
out soon.
They just called her
Hmm.
the golden haired queen, right?
Hmm.
Okay. Anyways. So they return, they have the book, and Amryn is frantically trying to translate it to figure out what the heck is going to happen. And they, Reese and Moore go back, they put the orb back, and while they're putting the orb back, and Feyre is with Cassian, right?
Hmm.
They
Training, I think.
see
Yeah.
they see like the something in the sky. And the worst nightmare come true. Valaris is under attack,
Hmm.
and their High Lord is not there.
Right.
So this is when she like steps into her element, right?
Right.
She fights for the world that she wants,
Yeah. She fights for Valaris and fights for all the people and is trying to like save as many people as she can.
right?
And really like embraces a lot of her powers. She's also able to winnow like several times,
Right.
which does take
Like,
a lot out of her, but she's actually able to like do it under duress. Like she's able to
right,
go and winnow different places. And then she also like lets Reese know through the bond that he needs to get back too.
right. So
So
obviously,
yeah, it was huge.
right, they're coming back, and she winnows to the Rainbow District, right? This
Hmm.
beautiful part of the city that really calls to her, and she makes the wolves, right? So she makes the wolves, and the wolves surround the soldier. She freezes, brings him down, dies, and like she keeps doing this over and over again. Um, and she's fighting nonstop. She's won't stop fighting, and Reese is like screaming at her through the bond, right? Where are you? Where are you? And she's blocking him because she just needs to keep fighting and she needs to concentrate and take down
Hmm.
these soldiers. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. Like she doesn't want him to only be concerned about her. And that she's
Yeah.
like, wow, she's so selfish. We see this all the time and throughout the book where even in the beginning, like she's the one that sacrifices for her family. She goes over the wall, she sacrifices for Tamlin. Like even now, she is more concerned about saving all of these people than
Right.
for Reese to like come and find her. She
Right.
knows she needs to fight. And then we see the adder, and she's like, "You're mine." Right? And she goes after him. And I don't know about you, I was like, yes, get him, girl. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
oh, I was just like, it's about time. And if he doesn't die this time, I'm gonna jump into this book and kill him myself. So she pursues him, she's fighting, and she winnows basically right on top of the adder and puts the poison arrows
Yeah.
like right into the wings of the adder and they fall down. Um, and she basically like, I don't know, kills him. Like she takes him out, she burns him and she stabs him, and she is able to finally rid the world of the adder. And
Hmm.
that's when she gets her new name. and that she gets called Feyre the Curse Breaker because she was under the mountain. She broke the curse under the mountain. And then they give her a new name. And I think I love the new name of Valaris Bedier, which is Defender of the Rainbow, because the people see her as she did everything she could for them.
Right.
She didn't have to. She didn't have to fight
No.
for them. She didn't have to save them, but she did. She
Right.
defends them with everything. And it really, to me, solidifies her spot in that group.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, she
Yeah. And
fully
just
accepted
shows
being
them,
here.
yeah, accepted the bond, accepted being a part of that court, right? And that she will give her life to protect them
Hmm.
because she was willing to die to protect them. And she does everything she can. I love when like Reese is picking on her about the like water wolves later on. Not picking on her. He's like, tell me more about these water wolves, but it was just in a funny way. So I thought that was adorable. But I think that like it meant so much to him to see that she cared for his people, like not just for him, not just for his family, but for all of his people. And she was willing to do whatever she could to like protect them, especially because she was kind of mad at them at the beginning because they didn't get attacked, right? They really missed out on everything that happened to the rest of the world. And so it was just nice to see her. It was kind of like where she, at first like hated the phase and then she decided like, okay, I'm gonna like be open to getting to know them more and things like that. So it kind of reminded me of that a little bit from the first book where she had this like revelation of, well, it's not their fault also, that they're safe, but like what a precious thing that he did save this place and save all these people and like I'm willing to do the same thing. So that was so great to see.
Okay, so we are gonna go to the Highburn and infiltrate the castle. We have the slip from Amryn that Feyre's gonna read when she gets there and she needs to touch it. But before we leave, Reese and Feyre decide to spend the night together. And doing this, he gives her that ring. Remember the ring from the Weaver's cottage?
Mm-hmm.
And this whole time, it was like a gift from his mom that was basically
Right.
like going to be like his betrothed ring. And I'm like, what? And she
Right.
kind of, it's funny because she like makes the point. She's like, you made me steal my own ring. And I was like, yes, he did. He's a brat.
Yeah.
He
I thought
100%
that
did
was
that to
awesome.
you,
I mean, at least she got it back and she did get it, but yeah,
right?
no, that was
I mean,
funny.
he got it back. You're right. But
Yeah,
she had to steal it herself. I was like, come on. Like, no,
making her really
that's
have to
no.
work hard for that one. Yeah,
Um,
that's
but
funny.
so after that, they spend the night. She says after they nullify the cauldron, she wants to like do it all. She wants to get married. She wants to declare the bond. She wants to do the whole nine because she
Mm-hmm.
realizes she wants to be with him forever.
Right.
So we go to Highburn and we infiltrate the castle. So as we're going into the castle, it's obvious to me that it's a trap, and they kind of all think that too because it's just too easy. It's too easy. There's not enough sentries. This is supposed to be protecting the cauldron, like this
Right.
massive magical thing, and it's not. So they Farah starts hearing the cauldron, right? She starts leading the way. She feels it pulling to her. And when they get there, the book starts talking to her because it already talks, but now it's like in overdrive. That
Well,
it's
and
where,
Cassian and Azrael are killing people the whole way down, but it's
right,
still just not, there's no
not
one
as
at the
many,
actual cauldron. Right.
right. And it's
Yeah.
just like it's too easy. Like
Yeah.
even if they're being
Yeah.
super sneaky about it, it just still seems too easy.
Yeah.
Like you knew as you're reading it, like something's going down.
Something's
Like
going
this
on.
is
Yeah.
just too easy to like they're killing people, but this should be more like bloodshed fight, and it's not. Being sneaky,
Right.
it still isn't, it's going too well. So when they get to it and the book starts whispering and she's like trying to think of the spell and the book is just like jacking up all of her senses and she puts it together. The one thing she's told not
She's told
to
not to
do.
do. Right.
Um,
Do not put this together.
yes, do not put this together. You don't know what it's going to unleash because we knew it was going to basically call to something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and everything within like the certain range was going to feel the presence of the book being put together, and it is, anyways.
Yeah.
And then our lovely friend Jurian comes out. So he is alive, he is resurrected, he's there. So
Yeah.
already, like, he's alive. So
Right.
I totally missed the part where Reese takes the book from Feyre. I don't know why, but as the story progressed, I had to go back because I was like, wait, where'd it go? Where'd it go?
What
Like,
happened?
what happened to it? I was so confused. I don't know if I was just like in full blown panic. I'm in the last 100 pages. I know stuff's going down, reading too fast and just like whoop,
Yeah.
over that whole section. But like, I was like, where did this book go? Where
Yeah, that
did
would have been very confusing. I definitely like did pick up on that and I was like kind of waiting to see like did they see him take it? Like did
right,
anybody else notice, like where did it go? I knew where that he had it, but I was like did they see him do that? Like did they know he has it? Which it didn't seem like they did know that. So, yeah.
right. And
But yeah, I was
then,
wondering like at what point is that going to come back up?
right. So the King of Hybern comes in and obviously uses the magic and like shuts everybody down basically. And it's the like to me the most terrifying part, even like though like everything is going to poop. Um at this point, I think Azrael got shot with the ash arrow. Is that
Yeah.
right? When the king arrives. And
Yep.
then you hear the thing. So if I held up my end of the bargain, you need to too. And out walks Tamlin. I lost it. I was like, mother pooper. So it reminded me almost, I'm gonna say, try to see if you feel the same way. As in like fourth wing and Iron Flame, Jack freaking Barlow. Like,
Oh,
can
yeah.
you just go away already? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. Well, I'm over you. Like I'm
Yes.
done. Yeah.
Like, we are over you, Tamlin. What are you doing here? Like, you betrayed
Right.
everyone. Get out of here. For Feyre, you really think at this point she still wants to be with you? Like, get out
Right.
of here,
Exactly.
dude.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
So like Azrael's on the ground. They can't help because like their powers are neutralized, right? And then
mhm,
like they're threatening to kill Azrael if they do anything. Castian had his wings stomped on, so he's like incapacitated too. He can't do anything either. And then yeah, there comes Tamlin, right? Like, and it's like, oh, well, this was all like part of his bargain that he just wants her back at any cost. He like sold out his whole kingdom and he's gonna let Hybern like go right through his whole court and like go over the wall and just like take over the world. Here you
I
go. Here's
just
the keys to the castle. So
for a girl, like
for a
it,
girl, yeah, who doesn't want
it
you? Like,
correct. And I
oh my
like if
gosh.
it had been that she wanted him, like ultimate love story, burns the world for his girl. But this girl doesn't want you to burn the world for her. She doesn't even
No.
want you. So like in any other type of book, that would have been like the most romantic. He was willing to throw the entire world away to save her. But in this sense, it's infuriating because, dude, she didn't want you and
Right.
you just burn the world for nothing because she doesn't want you back.
Right. Exactly. Ugh.
And,
Yeah, no. And I think like Feyre too is just like, what is going on right now? And like
Right.
I was shocked. Like, I mean, obviously I was shocked, but I was shocked just because also like it felt a little out of character for Tamlin too. Like, I'm like, I mean, I know he's like taken some bad like turns and he's been like super depressed and everything, but like that just felt like to just tell Hybern like, all right, go ahead and take over the world, whatever, like you can come in through my court. Like, I don't know, that just seemed like out of character for him because he was trying to
Right.
protect his court too. So, and I mean, he was, I think, just like obsessed with her, but he wasn't also like taking care of her, right? And so
Right.
it was
Right.
so frustrating because it's like if you cared about her, you should have taken care of her when she was there instead of ignoring her and, not training her, not talking to her, like disappearing for his court. So that was like he was disappearing to like save his court. So it just seems so weird to me
Right.
that he threw that all away for her, especially after she didn't want him. So yeah, I don't know. It felt like I don't know, like almost like he had been mind washed, like or something, like
Right.
something he just
I
wasn't in his
just,
right mind. And
I
that
mean,
Lucian
like I
like went
said,
along with it.
right.
Like
Like,
Lucian was
man has been
there.
through some trauma, but ooh, like, no, no, just
Yeah,
don't do that.
right. Exactly. Well, yeah, and then we see Lucian there too, and I'm like,
Hmm.
I wish Tamlin like was there by himself and Lucian wasn't there because
Yes.
I
Yes.
like it killed me that Lucian was there because I was like, Lucian, I like you.
Uh-huh.
Don't do
Stop
it.
following people blindly.
Stop
Think for
following
yourself.
people. Yes. Well, and also like he could be a High Lord himself, right? Like
Right.
in his own court, like he could have been a High Lord himself. So it's like, I don't know. It just feels like he's like taking a back seat when he doesn't have to. Like he
Yes.
could, I mean, obviously like he had to leave his court for all the things that happened with his family and everything, but it's like it's not like he's just some random guy that's been always in Tamlin's court who's been always following him. So I don't know. I was very sad. Lucian
Hmm.
was there and he was like also kind of behind it too. I don't think he like obviously it wasn't his decision, but yeah. How did you feel about that? It like tore me up inside. I was like, why
It
are you there?
did. Because it's just like blindly following orders. Like
Yeah,
there is loyalty, and then there is still like realizing you're not doing the right thing. And I
right.
feel like if it was the inner circle, they would be like, Reese, what are you doing?
Yes,
Like, you
yes.
shouldn't be doing this.
Right.
And
They would have absolutely stopped him for sure.
right,
Granted, he did like disclose where Valaris was, and they didn't stop him. So, but I don't
right.
know. I feel that's a little bit different.
But
So,
I guess in that sense, so Moore was the biggest adamant, don't show them, don't give it to them, like Valaris. Like,
right,
don't give it to them. And she voiced her opinion. Like Reese ended up doing what he did, but
right.
she was like still voiced her opinion. And I just felt like he was respectful of her. And in the end,
Yeah.
she even agreed that like it had to be done. But
Well, and in that case, it was like he was giving up information on this great place to like potentially save the world,
right.
not I'm gonna get a girl back. So, big
Right.
difference there.
Like I'm going to ruin the world for a girl,
Right,
where this
exactly.
was I'm trying to save the world.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Let me hand over the keys to ruin the world.
right.
So, which I mean, maybe Tamlin was just like, it's inevitable at this point anyway, it's just gonna happen, but like, no, no, Tamlin.
Yes.
Just no.
So, and then to make matters worse, the queens show up, right?
Yes,
And even worse than that, with the queens is her sisters.
right.
Like the worst thing that she could ever think. And she finds out that it was Ianthe, of course. Like I
Yep.
hated her from day one. I didn't like her. Something was wrong. And I know like other readers liked her, but I Nope, I was out.
So they're throwing Elaine into the cauldron. Lucian's saying like, this is enough. Tamlin's trying to say like this isn't part of our bargain, and they throw her in. And
Hmm.
then, she tumbles out and she had like a very sheer nightgown on. And Lucian's like, don't leave her on the floor like that, because it's now like see-through. And um then, they start throwing Nesta in. Nesta's kicking and screaming, fighting tooth and nail against him, threatens Highburn, and like
Hmm.
has like one finger up as she like goes down in the cauldron. And then when
It's
Nesta
like a
comes out, Elaine looks up at Lucian, and Lucian realizes that Elaine is his mate.
right. And
And
Nessa is
Nesta's
not
not happy
happy.
about it.
No, she was like,
Yeah.
she's not
She's
your
not a happy
mate.
camper.
Get away from her.
Yeah.
And her kind of, you can tell, and even Feyre says it, whatever the cauldron gave to Lane, Nesta took. Like she knew Nesta came out different. The
Right.
Nesta is not the same as Elaine came out. There's just a difference in there. The whole room can feel it.
Right.
She tore from the cauldron when she went in, and she tore when she came back out. And she's different. And I think even the king senses that. And he's like, ooh, that finger curse, where she points at him like, I'm coming back for you, might coming back and bite him in the
Might
butt.
come back. Yeah. Yeah.
So, of course,
Well,
everyone's terrified, mortified. And then there's
yep.
these little queens in the back, and you're like, woohoo, can't
My
wait.
turn.
Like, my turn.
Yeah.
And
Well, and Feyre's like this whole time been trying to fight against the magic that's been like tying up all of their
yes.
powers.
Yep. And she breaks
And
through in certain spots.
hmm
She
and she
gives,
tears apart the wards.
yep, she tears apart their wards so that they can winnow back out. But nobody knows this, at least not yet. But then
Hmm
the king of Hybern kind of turns to them, and he needs to fulfill what he told Tamlin he was going to do, and that was, unfortunately, break the bond between Rhys and her.
Yeah.
And
And
Rhys
kill
and
them.
her, right, Rhys and her
Yep.
share this terrified moment because at this point they know they're mates, but Tamlin doesn't know.
Right. Reese was hiding it, that bond. So she had a tattoo on
Bond
that
for
arm.
their bargain, but
Right.
not Reese,
The
like the
mating bond.
correct.
Right.
And they, so they're terrified if he can do this, will it break their mate bond, not just the bargain bond? So they're
Right.
both rightfully freaking out, and I would freak out too. So
Oh,
like
yeah.
she like begs them not to do this, and it doesn't matter. Like he starts going after them, and the king is they can feel the bond ripping. Like they make like they can feel it. And she decides split second to fake it till she makes it, I guess. Is that how you could
Yeah.
say it?
Yeah,
Basically.
basically. Yeah,
Um,
she essentially like tells Tamlin like Reese has had her under a spell and that she doesn't know what she's been doing and like please break the bond. Like please break the bond as a distraction to like get them to winnow out. And she's like in the meantime telling like Reese through their bond, like she's hoping that he's getting it of like the the wards are down, like go, you can go get my sisters out of here, protect my sisters, get them out.
right, and because
Um,
we don't know if he's getting it at that point,
right,
because the
right.
king still has like all of the powers up right now.
hmm So yeah, the king does break the bond,
The
which we
bargain
find
bond.
is yes, just the bargain bond, which
Hmm.
still like Reese reacts so strongly, like in
Right.
a good, like they both do. They react so strongly in a good way. I'm sure it was like painful too, but they reacted extra strongly to like make Tamlin really believe that, he had her under his control and that yeah, she is now free from him.
Right. And
And she
so she
begs Tamlin to get her out.
right. So she does it. She pretends and begs Tamlin. Tamlin does say to Reese that he doesn't care if they're mates, that Feyre is his. And the king like breaks the bond and Feyre faints and then she wakes up and the tattoo's gone. And that part sucks to me. Like their
Yeah,
tattoo was almost like in their bond in a sense, like their mating bond, because
right,
that's how they found each other, was when they made that bargain. They
right,
solidified themselves and now it's gone. And we know that it didn't go fully away. Their mating bond was still there, but to lose
right.
that big bond was definitely like really kind of sad.
Yeah, it totally
And,
was.
and
Well, and
then
it was like so hard to read through that part where she's just like, Tamlin, I love you. And I could just feel like it was making me sick to my stomach the whole time. And I know that
right,
she was doing it to save them. And she was like, I want to go with you, but like enough killing. I don't want anybody to die. So like she essentially like begs for their life, but in a way that makes Tamlin think like she just can't handle any death.
right,
And not that she cares about him, which
right.
was very smart on her part, for
Yes.
sure.
And then
Yeah,
luckily they figure out about the winnowing because then Moore goes and gets her sisters and Reese gets Kaz and Azriel out there and they all disappear.
right.
And then Feyre, Tamlin's like, let's go home. And I'm just like, dude, all this happens. You're like,
Oh,
let's go home, babe. Like, get out of here.
right. Oh my gosh. It made me like that whole part, I was just so cringy. Like I just was
Uh-huh.
like I was having a hard time reading it. I'm like, this is so hard. Yeah.
And then the chapter comes that makes you want to pick up the next book the second you're
Yes.
done, is when it jumps to Reese's point of view and he drops the bomb. He drops the bomb that, okay, yes, the bargain was broken, but what they didn't notice is there's a new um tattoo on Feyre on her other side because she's now the High Lady, which was something that Tamlin said doesn't exist,
Doesn't
isn't a
exist,
thing,
right?
and Reese gives her that title, the High Lady of the Night Court. He just like lets her go. And
Yeah.
as I think loses his crap because he's like, "Are you kidding me? You put our High Lady and another court in danger." Woo! That boy, he's mad.
Right. Well, and I like the like, he tells Amryn and she's like, you can't break a mating bond. Like you can't break a mating bond. Like, because they're like,
Right,
he broke the bond. And she's like, no, you cannot do that. And so I was like, okay, I feel better about it.
right.
So I was glad that like that still existed. And then yeah, finding out that like they had made it official. They went and saw a high priestess like the day before. And yeah, like I thought that was just it was like they got, they went and eloped to make sure that they'd always be together type thing. Like it was just so,
Yes.
I don't know, romantic and so beautiful. And also like I don't know. I'm like, man, she's like a sneaky spy now, right? Like in
Uh-huh.
Tamlin's court.
So
And especially
I,
after we saw how much she defended Valaris and how much she's like invested. Yeah, that was, I don't know, kind of cool. But yeah, no, it's been literally killing me to not read the next book. So
well, now you
I
can.
will be picking it up immediately after this.
Um, and then I did like how they switched back to Feyre's point of view, and they're
Yeah,
back at the spring court, and they're like gonna walk in, and you can tell Lucian knows. Lucian knows that Tamlin is blind. He just let a hen into the chick or a coyote or the fox into a chicken
Fox
coop,
into the hen house.
right?
Yeah. Yep.
That he just made a terrible move, that Feyre
Mm-hmm.
is faking it. And this isn't what Tamlin thinks it is. But he's not going to say anything. And we know why, because Elaine is in the night
Is
court,
his
and
mate.
Elaine is Feyre's sister, and Elaine is his mate. So
Right.
for once we see almost him like grow a backbone. He,
Yeah.
in a sense, betrays Tamlin because
Hmm.
he has something more that he wants more, and that's Elaine, his mate.
Right. Yeah, I do really like that. I think he's still struggling with it, but like I was like, okay, cool. Like this might break him out of that bad situation too, because
Right.
he's just not in a good place either.
No.
And I feel like Tamlin's just so controlling. Like some of it might be Lucian's fault, but I feel like some of it's really not. So, if he can like break out and get free from Tamlin too, like that would be really great.
Right.
Um, yeah. So I'm like, I did because I forgot there was like the first chapter of the book, the next book in this one. And so I think I read like the first chapter. But then yeah, it was like killing me to not keep reading. So I'm
Yeah, that's
excited to
okay.
keep reading.
I just love how she ends it, and I pulled up the book because I'm just going to read it because it's like just like the epitome of like what's going down. And it was he gazed on me face hard as if he's seen through the lie, so she knows Lucian, as if he knew of the second tattoo beneath my glove and the glamour I now kept on it, as if he knew he had let a fox into a chicken coop and he could do nothing, not unless he ever wanted to see his mate, Elaine, again. I gave Lucian a sweet, sleepy smile. So our game began. We hit the sweeping marble stairs and the front doors of the manor, and so Tamlin unwittingly led the high lady of the night court into the heart of his territory. Goosebumps. Like, I just got goosebumps
Yeah.
reading it again. Like,
Yeah,
y'all
for
fucked
sure.
up. That's how, like, I think about it. You all messed up bad.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
just let your biggest enemy into your territory, and you have no idea.
Yeah. I like can't wait to see what happens next. I'm super excited.
I can't wait either. And that is definitely where we're going to go after this. So we are going to let Ashley read, and then we're going to jump on and do the discussion about that.
Yes. So, if you
So
did
if you
like this, yeah, please like keep following us. I will be reading all of them, and Kendall will keep experiencing it through my eyes again.
woohoo! So if you liked what you saw, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, join our conversation with fellow bookworms, leave a comment, let us know what you think, how you felt when you read the book, because we're all about that. We want to know your opinions just like we talk to each other.
See you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.